Remember, expect the unexpected.
Huh?
Expect the unexpected.
That's what I was told today, was just to expect the unexpected. It was going to be that kind of day. So, and it, it really was. So, okay. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today? It's good to see such a big crowd here again. It's really nice to see all of you. So before we go any further, if you could please turn off any electronic devices or put them on vibrate, I would greatly appreciate that. And I should be a little more easy to hear now. Does anybody want to ring the Christabelle this morning to kind of get things really kick them off this morning for everybody? Ringing the bell. Oh, okay. And more than one person can do it if you'd like. It's just fun to do. But what it does is it really raises the vibration. Go for it. Yep. Just pull and let go. Pull quick. Pull and let go. There it goes. Now you got it. All right.
It's a baby.
One more time for good measure. Just one more time. Okay, so as you can see, today is going to be one of those days where things don't necessarily go the way we had planned, but that's why you learn how to go with the flow and you learn to just kind of adapt. And that's what we're actually going to be speaking about today. So of course, Spirit has that wisdom in mind when they talk about the sermon. But I do appreciate all of you being here. I know it's a little warm in here, right? I know at least up here it is. But John, if you could just turn it down to like 70, or make sure it's on the air conditioning instead of up. There we go. Okay. Now that we've rang the bell and we've let Spirit know that we're ready to really enjoy this hour of time together, allow me to begin with our weekly announcements that we have. First off, thank you everyone who attended our awesome birthday celebration for Mr. Andrew Jackson Davis last week. If you missed out on the festivities in person, you can always watch our church service from that week on our church's YouTube channel. It's just the Christabelle Spiritualist Church on YouTube. I highly recommend watching that. It was a great sermon, and honestly, we had a blast, didn't we? And how about those cupcakes? Those were fantastic. Okay, Annie, we have created a small lending library that is on the bookshelf in the healing room. That's just kind of off the chapel here. If you would like to check out a book from our lending library, we do have a sign-out sheet. And we also have several books on spiritual subjects. Not all of them are strictly related to spiritualism, but it is our hope to get a few more spiritualist-related books down the road. So feel free to check it out. Check out a book there. We've got plenty that are really interesting. Also, we do have a few books in the multi-purpose room across the way here that didn't really make the cut, so to speak, for our lending library, but we are selling those for $1 a piece. So if you're interested after church, feel free to go in, take a look around, see if there's any books that you really resonate, that you like. For all of my mediumship students, don't forget to do your homework. And I tell you that every week, but I just want to make sure that everybody is doing the work. It really is very important to help you in order to develop into a real medium. Our next meeting for our closed development circle, is actually on August 28th at 6:30. We are still in need of assistance with the air conditioning unit in the multi-purpose room. I know it's getting a little towards the end of summer, but we would still love to be able to use that room. So if anybody has any assistance they can give us to either try and fix it or to help us to replace it, it would be greatly appreciated. It really would. Page 2. If anyone would like to volunteer here at the church, we are always looking for people to help with cleanup of the grounds, the chapel, etc. Now, for those of you who have volunteered to help and it hasn't worked out yet timing-wise, please don't give up on us. We really do appreciate the fact that you care enough to help. We do have a lot going on right now, so sometimes scheduling can be an issue, but please continue to keep offering to help. We really do appreciate it, and we'll get that help where it's most needed. If you don't have the time to contribute by volunteering, but you still want to help, any financial assistance that you can provide will be greatly appreciated. We are all volunteers here, so 100% of your donations go to the church in order to help keep the lights on, to help keep gas in the mowers, to help keep everything going. So we're just, any help you can get to help keep things running smoothly, we really do appreciate. Also, now I know that it's warm weather out and there's a lot of people in the Rockford area who are panhandling, I hate that term, but who are out there who are homeless, who are in need of assistance. I got several cards from Rockford Rescue Mission that we can offer, we can hand out as in addition to, if you'd like to provide any support to someone who is homeless or who is struggling. In addition to offering them any kind of other support, you can give them one of these cards for the Rockford Rescue Mission, which has, their address, has their phone number, it has all their information. And a lot of what they're there to do is to help with meals, to help with shelter, to help provide job opportunities for these people who are really disadvantaged right now. So if anybody wants one of the cards or a couple of cards to hand out, we have them up here. They offer services that we here at Christabelle are not currently equipped to provide, so I have no problem saying, hey, let's help out another congregation, another denomination of church. If we're all helping and healing, then maybe everybody will get healed. And finally, for anyone who would rather provide their offering online rather than in cash, we do have a church virtual offering plate that is available not only on our Facebook page, but also on our church's website as well. Anything that you can add to that offering plate is greatly appreciated. Okay. And now, on to the more formal portions of our church service for today. If you could please bow your heads for our opening invocation. Infinite intelligence, we direct our thoughts in this hour that we are together, asking that your Spirit permeate our souls with love, harmony, peace, and joy of communing with like-minded people. We ask that our service be blessed with only the highest of knowledge, and that it be given in accordance with our understanding, so that we may continue to go forward and use spiritualism's teachings in our daily lives. Amen. And now, if you could please, turn your hymnals to the front inside cover. At this time, we will be reading aloud together our Declaration of Principles. And for those who may not be aware, the Declaration of Principles in the Spiritualist Church is really kind of the pillars of our faith. It's the true essence of what makes up a spiritualist. And that is why we read them aloud. It's just as a reminder, but even more than reading them, it is so important to live them. So as our reminder for this week, please join me in reading these principles aloud right now. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact, scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the Golden Rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We affirm the moral responsibility of individuals and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any soul here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes proven through mediumship. Yes, we do, every week. Okay, now, since I forgot the healing list over there, I will be right back. It's like I said, it's just kind of that sort of a day. Pardon me one moment. All right, so at this time, we will be reading from our healing list of absent friends today. These are all people who could not be here, but who are still in need of healing. So as I am reading these names off aloud, I ask that you please send these individuals healing, send them kind thoughts, send them whatever positive energies that you are capable of sending. When I'm finished reading this list aloud, I will also ask that if you have any names that you would like to add to this list that are not currently on it, that feel free to just say that person's first name aloud, and then we will also send them that positive energy. Ruth and Hank, Gail, Fred, Debbie, Ryan, CJ, Donna, Becky, Geraldine, Bob, Nyla, Charlie, Sherry, Brenda, Candy, Samantha, Deb, Ken, Josh, Julie, Jamie, Joanne, and Karen. Does anybody have any names that they would like to add to that? Anyone else? Okay, now at this time, and we had talked about this last week, Kevin, but would you like to come up and do your solo for our healing hymn?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Even if you don't use the mic, just stand up here.
Morning sun, light of creation, grassy fields, a velvet floor, silver clouds, a shimmering curtain. He's designed a perfect world. I'm amazed at his talents, stand in awe of one so great. Now my soul begins to sing out to the source from which it came. Bless the Lord who reigns in wisdom. Bless the Lord who reigns with wisdom and with power. Bless the Lord who reigns my life with so much love. He can make a perfect heart.
And at this time, we will conclude our healing portion of our church service with the reading aloud of the prayer for spiritual healing, which you can find, and I love that you are all reaching for your hymnals already. You can find that on the back inside cover of our Spiritualist hymnals, which ironically, other than for this and for the 9 principles, we will not be using these today. Are we ready to recite this aloud? Looks like it. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help, and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of Spirit. All right, your sermon for today will be provided by yours truly. And I know that's a shock because you never see me up here doing these, so just for a change of pace, I thought I'd do one today. Okay. In the words of Dr. William James, the greatest revolution of our generation is the discovery that human beings, by changing the inner attitudes of their minds, can change the outer aspects of their lives. A very wise man, that Dr. William. And I do completely agree with that statement, by the way. It is not always easy to see things evolve around us when we are comfortable with the status quo. I mean, after all, how dare society, the universe, or infinite intelligence make things different without our permission, right? I mean, seriously, the audacity. Some changes can occur gradually. They can occur over a long period of time, while others can occur in an instant. It really doesn't matter exactly how quickly the changes occur. Anytime something is different, we have to let go of what was in order to embrace what is, even if it is a change that makes us uncomfortable. So I have a personal question for all of you, dear wonderful Christabelle sunflowers. How many of you have seen some dramatic changes in your own lives lately? Show of hands. Anybody can relate to that? Oh, there we go. Okay. For example, if you think about it, this past week alone, we've had several rounds of extremely severe weather that have come through the area. Not only did those storms bring rain and lightning, they also brought a lot of tornadic activity as well. A total of 6 tornadoes touched down, with 2 different ones actually touching down within 3 miles of my house. Thankfully, they all touched down in very rural areas, so there was actually very little in the way of real damage to people or property. But it did kind of get me thinking about the nature of things and how change can occur in so many different ways and times. Some changes can occur instantly, as I said, just like a lightning strike or a tornado. Other changes can occur more gradually. Most people in our society, they like to plan, they like to prepare, they organize, feel as if they have some sense of control over what is happening in the world around them. When something like a natural disaster occurs, it can make a person feel very small, very insignificant, and very out of control. It is in these moments that it becomes even more important that we try not to look too far ahead of where we are right now. We are all guilty of looking ahead to our next rainbow that we are chasing, but it really does stop us from enjoying the now. So, not to call anybody out, but I am kind of curious. A show of hands here. How many of you, since I've been up here on this platform, your minds have drifted ahead to what you have to do this afternoon or what you have going on tomorrow? Ah, there we go. There's an honest person. All right. Thank you. Now, it is so very necessary in those moments to take a look around and recognize what is important to you right now and to enjoy those little moments. I hear some murmurs from some of you in the crowd right now. So why would that be? Why would I ever think that those trivial, insignificant things should be noticed and cherished? Because, as the writer Robert Brault said, enjoy the little things in life, for one day you will look back and realize they were the big things. That statement has really gotten quite overused or or misused during the past few years to sell everything from healthcare to greeting cards, but there really still is an amazing amount of truth there. He's talking about living in the moment. Now, think for just a minute about all the times that some sudden dramatic change has occurred in your life and caught you completely off guard. Now, put on your hindsight is 20/20 glasses for just a minute and look back to what was happening in your life that led up to that change. Most of the time, if not always, but most of the time, I will bet that if you start looking at what was happening in your life leading up to that change, you'll see that there were signs. Spirit almost always gives us signs or synchronicities to help us to know what is coming. The hardest part is first recognizing that there are signs coming to us all the time, but then also recognizing and interpreting those signs from Spirit. You know what makes those signs so much easier to see? Say it with me now. Living in the moment. Paying attention to what is happening around us. It really does make all the difference. Honest, it does. Getting out from behind our tiny screens and, looking around, or more appropriately, sensing around. And I think a few of you understand what I mean by that. Use your psychic radar. Use your intuition. Use your higher senses to help you to determine what is happening around you. Ask Spirit. Remember that you are not alone. You have your loved ones, your spirit guides, all this incredibly wise and helpful guidance that all the way up to infinite intelligence that is here to help. Just remember to ask for help and to know that if you are relaxed and in the moment and just going with the flow, that those synchronicities are going to be that much easier for you to notice. Retrain your mind to be more aware of your surroundings. Practice spending time letting go of those thoughts and feelings that are keeping you dwelling in the past or obsessing over the future. Not only will you find yourself being much happier, but you'll find your connection to Spirit will grow exponentially. Life will flow much more easily provided you allow yourself to just go with the flow of your life. And for anybody who doesn't understand what I mean by that, I'm taking a real quick tangent. And when I say go with the flow of your life, how many of you, and again, audience participation, how many of you out there have tried to force something in your life to I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to do it now because I'm impatient. How many of you have tried to do that and had things just fall apart? There we go. Yeah, and that's what I mean by go with the flow of your life. If you are sitting back and just kind of watching what's going on, you kind of pay attention to Spirit, and you will recognize when it is time to act and when it is time to just be and to enjoy yourself. I'm guilty of forgetting that wisdom myself. I'm not trying to tell you that I am perfect by any stretch. I just recently let myself get pushed into a situation or into a direction that it really wasn't the right time for. And I ended up getting burned out and overwhelmed. I've spent the last couple of days just kind of stepping back and detaching and giving up the illusion of control. So instead, all I did was detach and let Spirit guide me. And you know what? This last day or so has gone exceptionally smoothly. Especially, considering everything that I have going on. Just as one quick example, because I was living in the moment, I heeded the call from Spirit. I was suggested that I go to a coffee place in Sycamore where I live that I'd never been to, I'd never tried, and I just on a whim, it was like, okay, sure. So I go in, and honestly, that led me to the best cup of coffee I've ever had in my life for the low price of $2.20, including tax. So even though, again, talking about those little moments, this is exactly what I mean. Being in the moment, paying attention, and you will find that Spirit will guide you on these little adventures that turn out to be wonderful. So, when some dramatic change occurs and you didn't see it coming, what can you do to most easily manage the situation? You can throw a tantrum. No, that's just kidding. No, what you can do is you can always just sit with Spirit. So does anybody know what I mean when I say that phrase, sit with Spirit? What do I mean, Julie?
To just kind of step back and allow the universe, your guides, infinite intelligence to just give you what it wants to give you and be within the moment of the moment.
Exactly. I mean, basically what that boils down to is being in the moment, and one of the words that nobody likes to hear, meditation. And I'm not talking about spending an hour in the lotus position going, oh. I'm talking about spending 2 minutes just sitting down, closing your eyes, and going, okay, what do I need to know, Spirit? What you got for me? Or Spirit guides, what can you help me with? And just being open to whatever you are getting. You know, relax, sit back, and breathe. Close your eyes and trust that you'll get the answers you need. Then you start asking questions, switch into reporter mode. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a caveat. Do not ask questions unless you truly want the answer. The reason that I bring it up that way, it might sound pretty basic, but this really is just a friendly reminder. Don't ask the question if you don't want the answer, because Spirit can be unnervingly direct at times. And I know a few of you can relate to what I'm talking about. The most difficult part of that entire exercise, though, is not being afraid of Spirit giving you something direct. It's trusting that you're really getting an answer, because I know a lot of you have a challenging time trusting that the answer really is coming from Spirit, but also trusting that the answer that you don't like really is an answer. Yep. Sometimes we will be given an answer that we really didn't want. It happens. It happens to us all. Go with it. Accept it. Trying to get a different answer is not going to change things. Your guides will not waste their time or energy trying to keep giving you the same answer in perpetuity. After a while, they just stop answering you because they already did and you didn't listen. So say, for argument's sake, that you don't like the answer that you are told by Spirit. When that happens, you can always ask your guides what you can do to change that answer. Do you notice the difference there? Instead of continuing to ask the same question, hoping for a different answer, you ask what you can do to change that situation that you don't like that's coming. And this is going to be a challenging statement for some of you, and I know this. Sometimes there really isn't anything that we can do except ride it out. Because sometimes, as difficult as it is, we have to accept that we are on a set course. You'd be amazed or terrified how often events are inevitable that happen to us for whatever reason. Usually, it's part of a person's life path for a certain thing to occur the way it does. Other times, a person's free will life choices up to this point will have taken any other options off the table. And this is the path that they are now on. Most often, this is regarding some situation that is going to be very challenging for the person. It happens a lot, actually. And on occasion, Spirit will give us a heads up, especially if it's something that we can change. Sometimes we do get blindsided by a situation because there's nothing we can do. It's in our life path for it to happen. And honestly, this is actually, when it comes to mediumship, this is also why I tell people that just having a natural ability for mediumship is not enough. If you are going to connect for others, you also need the emotional maturity to be able to most appropriately deal with the situation that comes up for other people. Not only because on occasion, and we all do this, on occasion you may tell someone something that is not necessarily appropriate for them to know just yet, but also because at the very least, as a medium, you are holding someone's emotional life in your hands. It is not a responsibility to take lightly. And so for all my students out there, just that little reminder. Spirit will also help us with those situations. But as I've said in the past, Principle number 7 exists because it is a literal truth. We are responsible for our own lives. What a concept. Our choices determine our reality. Even though that, yes, sometimes I do think we're a bit overly optimistic before we incarnate down here. We do outline our lives, and I think sometimes, we're way too overly optimistic. But we still make decisions every single minute of every single day that determine our own level of happiness here. And again, the wise words of Dr. William James come to mind. You can alter your life by altering your state of mind. Never forget that. Life truly is what we make of it. No, really, it is. It is. I love the faces. I got a few people going. And now, you know what? And speaking of things that are what we make of it, look at our own chapel for just a minute, as well as our national organization for an example. One of the many things, and there are many, one of the many things about the science, philosophy, and religion of spiritualism is the fact that it truly is a living entity in its own right. I hear a few murmurs again out there. Really, let me explain for just a minute about what I mean by that being a living entity. Spiritualism truly is a living science, philosophy, and religion. We are not afraid of change. Spiritualism not only understands that change is inevitable, but that change is also necessary for growth. As our understanding evolves, so too does that of spiritualism. Now think about it this way for just a minute. The spiritualist symbol is the sunflower. Why? Why pick a flower? More specifically, why that particular flower? The sunflower was actually chosen as the official symbol for a few reasons. One of those reasons comes in the form of the official motto of the Spiritualist Church. Okay, everybody ready? As the sunflower turns its face to the light of the sun, so spiritualism turns the face of humanity to the light of truth. And actually, I really like that. I really do like that statement. In a subtle way, it shows how we evolve, and we are not afraid to grow as a religion. We turn our faces to the light of truth. As we learn new truths, or as our understanding of those truths evolves, just like the sunflower, always seeking the light and always growing. I think that is so awesome that we picked that sunflower, or that I should say those who came before us did. As spiritualists, our understandings are evolving, and as we do, the National Spiritualist Association of Churches evolves as well. The NSAC is the umbrella organization for us individual church societies, for anybody who may not be aware. And I gotta tell you, I am so excited about some of the things that I see changing, even though the changes may be kind of slower in coming than some might like. It really is progress. For example, in the past, most spiritualist churches truly held the belief that outreach was not necessarily something to strive for. It was the belief that when a person was ready, that Spirit would guide them to the church. Now, I have to be honest, I am personally an example of that particular phenomenon. I had to search. This was in the days before the internet. I had to search to find a place that understood me as an extra large medium. But if Spirit hadn't helped me, I would have never found this wonderful Christabelle family that is sitting before me. I love this church. I really have since the first day I stepped in here. But now I'm curious. I am curious again. How many of you just happened to stumble upon this wonderful church family? How many of you just kind of happen to stumble into this place and be like, wow, so this is spiritualism? All right, we got one person. Okay, great. Now, how many of you came because you heard about us, either through someone else, through social media, through advertising, through something of that nature? There's a lot of hands there. Okay. See, and that's exactly what I mean. In the past couple of years or so, the mindset has changed from one of, well, when the person is ready, Spirit will guide them, to one where, and again, everybody was so shy about outreach from all of our different church societies for whatever reason. But honestly, I do think a lot of it was fear of what others may think. We are now, however, proud to be spiritualists. We are ready to share that light of truth with the world. Am I right? Hey. I've spoken about this previously, but seriously, outreach is one of the 3 windmills that I really do enjoy tilting at. I want to see more and more people find us, and I want people to understand what a wonderfully healing and empowering message that spiritualism has. Not to mention that amazing sense of community that exists here. I mean, you all see this every Sunday. A lot of us churches also are doing something that may take a lot of getting used to for a few of you, but that other people are saying is long overdue. I don't know if you've noticed, but in our particular chapel, as well as any of you who have watched YouTube sermons or the Zoom sermons, some of the other churches are doing this as well. We are changing some of the wording in the invocations and also just when we refer to the divine. Just the other day, actually, I saw someone spend 15 minutes explaining how, when a spiritualist uses the word God, it has a different meaning in spiritualism than what other religions might believe. Because the word God has a different connotation to some other religions than it really has here, some of us pastors have been using that word less and less. Since we've been substituting infinite intelligence or spirit, and that's why from here on out you will hear me use those terms instead. You will hear me on this platform say infinite intelligence or spirit, because I think it really is a good change because it helps to prevent any confusion. As we've talked about before, it really does have that different connotation to a lot of people coming from other places. So we're going to eliminate that confusion. Oh, and another big change, which you've actually already seen, that is occurring here and in spiritualist churches across the country, it's the revamping of our spiritualist music. This, personally, I feel is long overdue. And now, I'm sure that a few of you have noticed that most of the hymnals that we have here, they contain a lot of old, either Christian hymns or hymns that contain slightly altered wordings from the originals. We have a committee through the NSAC right now that is all about updating our music so that we will have not only more spiritualism-specific music, but we are looking at more modern musical selections as well. So just so that you have that in mind, and as an example, actually, you've heard us play Frank Turner and Diamond Rio and even Etta James a couple of weeks ago here, but this is one of the things I thought was so awesome. About a month or so ago, one of the churches on the East Coast actually played a Panic at the Disco song as their healing hymn. So for anybody who knows High Hopes, they played High Hopes. Or even our neighbor to the northeast, just over here, the First Spiritualist Church of West Dallas up in Wisconsin near Milwaukee, they have played more modern yet spiritual music as well. And I gotta tell you, it really did my heart good to hear one week that they played Train, Calling All Angels, and then the next week they played Cat Stevens. So changes are coming, and they're very welcome here at Christabelle. And I urge you to either please keep coming in person, or if you have been watching us virtually, to come for the first time and see for yourself just how much fun and healing happens here. And really, actually, in every spiritualist church. Sorry, everybody, I get really excited when I'm talking about spiritualism and when I'm talking about Christabelle in particular. I love this place. As you go forth this week, try and keep in mind that, yes, change is constant, and it can be scary sometimes. Having said that, if you can just relax and go with the flow of your life, you will be amazed at how much smoother and more stress-free your life will go. Also, remember that not only do you have the love and guidance of infinite intelligence or spirit, your fellow Christabelle sunflowers are here for you as well. Now, since we began this sermon with the words of Dr. William James, I feel it's only fitting that we conclude with them as well. The good we do today becomes the happiness of tomorrow. Thank you.